good to go here.
You're looking very tanned.
Yeah, I'm just going through my notes and trying to remember how to read again. And
A
2 weeks away.
week on the beach in Thailand, 2 weeks on the beach in Thailand, and you're done.
Forgot everything.
Yeah. Your literacy out the window.
Numeracy, literacy, logic, all of it. It's been amazing, but it's good to be back in the Wheelhouse Bunker as we go around again. My name's Joel Spreadborough. Katerina Barthez, bonjour.
Bonjour.
Henk Vogel's also back from international travel, looking like you're sporting a bit of a little bit of a tan as well, mate.
Yes, it was a tad warmish over there.
Yeah, China?
Tad warmish in China, I can tell you. Never had any heat like that in my entire life, so I'm happy to be in the air-conditioned bunker.
Hold on, what are we talking?
30 night, midnight, between 40 and 46 in the race, and sometimes we had well over, and I took a few photos with my my phone in the car, and it was like 50, 48 degrees. Yeah.
Dry heat or humid?
Wet.
Oh.
Is there a mercy rule for your riders?
Well, they enacted the UCI. They enacted the rules. They shorted 4 days out of 11.
Okay.
Because of the heat, and they lopped off a third of the race on 4 days.
So extreme temperature protocols.
Yeah. So it gets to
Was it humid? Was it humid, Hank?
It was gross.
Was there any chafing?
Wet. There was lots of chafing, lots of wet. I actually took 2 T-shirts in the race car because I had to get changed before the race. Otherwise, I was sitting in a wet car. So it was, and you know, like I'm complaining. I'm sitting in an Audi S4 with air conditioning, but the boys had to race 130K a day. But we went through 100 water bottles and 8 bags of ice, 3 eskies in the car. We emptied them every day.
How did they come to the conclusion, other than the bleedingly obvious, that they needed to be shortened? Like, was there an official protocol for doing that, or did you just find out on the start line?
Well, the actual UCI commissaires actually just called a meeting and said, this is out of control. We can't, this is bullshit. Like, we need to, this is way too hot.
Yeah, they were having a Schwetz in their commissaire's booth.
Exactly. So, and seriously, like when you're in the convoy, it was like feeding time at the zoo. So there was like 10 cars trying to run each other over to get to their riders to feed them. And, you know, we had a full esky ice sock. So they had 4 lots of ice socks in the race, putting full bottles of cold ice water over them. We're just trying to keep them, you know, very, very, very cool. Their core temperature is out of control, like over 40 degrees, and they're racing at 180 beats a minute. It was, I felt bad for them. So that's, especially when I put the window up and turned the AC on as a DS, because I've done my time of doing that.
Gave them a little wave. I mean, women's pantyhose are kind of going out of fashion, but
not in China.
Not in bike racing.
Well, I
That's
bought
what you fill with ice, right?
I bought 500 pairs of ladies' ankle socks. Like
pantyhose socks.
They're about $35 Australian for 500 pairs. So there's 1,000 of them. We went through half of them.
Are you wearing any now, Hank?
No, I am not.
So with that, just quickly, the questions on chafing and now women's pantyhose have come from the one and only Merksy in the bunker. G'day, mate. Good to see you're in form.
It's good to be back. And Hank loaned me these cap. You like that?
Yes.
Oh, hence, okay, that's where the innuendo's coming from, because you've got a cap. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's put a lid on it, has he? Okay. That's like
good.
Oh my gosh!
Welcome back, Henk Vogels. I tell you what, what an ordeal for the riders. I wonder if any of them are questioning their choices,
their
on
life
the back
choices.
of those kind of incident. Like everyone got through okay, obviously, but
no,
that sort
one
of thing.
didn't.
No, they didn't.
No, one of the young blokes, Nate Haddon. He was in the time trial. He's our GC rider, and he was on a real good one, and it was a 9K climb straight up this mountain, and then they go into a very technical, windy section, and he didn't realise that the corner wasn't 90 degrees, that it was 200 degrees, and he went straight. He went straight over the guardrail and straight down the ravine. I didn't see it happen because it was so steep, and there was another rider was catching him. And I actually kept driving because I didn't see him, and I just heard him yell out, and I stopped the car and waited, and you can't reverse your team car in a time trial in a race. So I jumped out, and he's come around the corner with a, big bump on his head and claret coming out of him, and I told him just get immediately in the car. So he had to abandon. He was our GC rider, so he didn't get through. But as far as heat-wise, They struggled a lot, but they got through it. But
Did
they're pretty used to it.
But did he then get to sit in the air-conned car for the rest of the tour?
He did, and I didn't have a spare place for the bike, so the mechanic had the bike in the back seat with him. Had to take the wheels out, so he had to drive the rest of the time trial course with the bike on top of him with
lap.
3 of like these.
Oof.
It was.
It's glamorous, isn't it?
It is not really a glamorous lifestyle, I can tell you that's
The
for
race
sure.
officials there going, look, sorry, mate, no, you're not allowed to reverse the car. You're not allowed to get out of the car either. And Hank's going, I wasn't going to get out of the car. I really
No,
did.
it's
all
quite
nice
comfortable
here,
in
thanks.
here.
And all I was doing was sitting on a beach doing day tours and a bit of drinking, but also a little bit of Thailand's famous markets, of course. And I stumbled across one item that I brought back with me and I thought might make a little bit of an addition to the bunker here, if you don't mind. Berkshey's going to hate me for it because the colour does not work with our backdrop. And I just want to say in advance, I have no issue whatsoever with you vetoing this particular item, Merksy, okay?
Well, I'm intrigued now.
Oh no, he's kept this one quiet.
He really has.
It's nothing
All
to
right,
do with Thailand.
The bag comes
It's
up.
nothing to do with Thailand, and it disgusts me to be doing this.
If you pull out a Bintang
I'm so
t-shirt,
curious
Wait to
about
wash
It's a
my
Bintang
hands.
a
singlet.
Bintang singlet.
No, it's nothing to do
Oh,
with
no,
Thailand.
that's not barley.
Okay. Oh, yes.
It's a Parramatta Eels jersey, and it makes me sick holding it. But it's here for the bunker.
Is that for? Oh, that is spectacular.
Catherine, that is genuine special price for me only. I'm a special guy apparently, and
wow.
I'm the only guy that got special price for that particular
Wow.
jersey.
Hey,
Mate, I think you need to whack that
It
on.
would have been going cheap, I reckon.
that is
They gave it away.
that is.
Freebies.
Hey, I
Had to
benefit.
get that one in.
No,
didn't you?
no, 20
That is-
baht. 20 baht.
That is bloody brilliant.
It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a genuine article for you there. So
That is beautiful.
As-
Thank you.
it wasn't a cheap Thailand thing. It's a para jersey for the bunker.
It's beautiful.
We've had Parramatta
Look at
cycling
this.
jerseys, and now we have the Parramatta NRL jersey as well to
I
commemorate.
am chuffed.
Another wonderful year from the Eels,
It
I have to
is,
say. And that's coming from a
yes.
Broncos fan, so I won't throw too many stones. But
Hey, we weren't last. That's the best I've got.
in a low-scoring finale too. Yeah, absolutely. Look, there you go.
Thank you. Oh, I'm very appreciative.
We are
Very
going
nice.
to continue traversing the world today. We're going to go to Zurich. There's something big coming up there as well. Some big name retirements happening in Australia and abroad that we need to go over. And I believe Wout has been tied down for another 400 years, as basically with his latest deal with Jumbo as well. So
Into cryo.
Yes.
Yeah,
Into
sure.
go. Well, he turned 30 this week. Merksy and I had cake
I
for
really
his birthday. Yeah.
Where is it?
Did you really, Maxie?
Yeah, we had cake.
You- this isn't like a
Mate,
podcast.
tell
Given you
ya.
actually had cake for Wout's.
I think Kate donated some money to sign him forever.
No, we didn't have cake. I suggested it, and Merksy humoured
I
me.
said,
But
sod
you
off.
know,
Sod off with that.
given he's a celiac, it takes away
Oh,
a
would it
bit
need
from
to be
the.
gluten-free and all that? Yeah, okay.
You know.
Okay, all right. Well, Kate and Luke. Oh, hang on, who's Luke? Kate and Merksy have also been away. You've been conducting some pretty important business in Victoria as well, Catherine.
Yes, we had Amy's Grand Fondo on the weekend. It was bloody spectacular.
Pics look
might
good.
I say. I can also say that we didn't have any problems with the heat like you did, Hank.
No, I heard you were very underprepared in that department.
We were. It was so cold. On the Saturday, it was about 7 degrees and hailing.
Oh, no.
And we were going riding. On the Sunday morning, we were riding down to the Grand Fondo and then doing a ride. And we were putting sunscreen on and getting mocked by the Victorians. They were like, you're probably not going to need that, you Queenslanders.
Yeah.
You know, but got to keep the visage
Of course,
in good
yeah,
shape.
yeah,
We didn't have gloves. We didn't even have jackets. We ended up riding in puffer jackets. They did the trick. It was cold, but spectacular. Riding along the Great Ocean Road, nothing like it. Exhilarating. Wasn't it, Merksy? Like there was just...
It's the best down there, isn't
so beautiful.
And you even went on a rival podcast
I did.
to talk about it.
I did. I can't believe
Can't
you
believe you
mentioning
bring
that.
that up.
I
Yes,
don't remember approving such.
I did. I spoke
Oh.
to Christoph
Christoph.
at SBS about the foundation.
You know what? I've changed my mind. You can keep that
And,
jersey now. It can stay on the desk. That's your punishment.
and the wonderful work we're doing. It was fantastic. We had around 4,000 people there doing everything from the Grand Fondo to the Medio Fondo and the family ride, just to see the community together, and the incredible support was bloody sensational.
It looked great. The energy looked
is.
great. What about the Grand Fondo itself, though? Was it?
Isn't that just the most magical road to ride your bike on?
It is. Well, so it was 122 kilometres and it served as a qualifying event for the World Grand Fondo Championships next year on that course, right? So Australia's hosting it, so pretty cool. The top 25% of each category qualified and they went up a climb to start and through the back and then dropped down onto the Great Ocean Road with about 45 kilometres to go.
Yeah.
Thankfully for them, it was a tailwind coming back because Merksy and I rode out on the Great Ocean Road that morning and the headwind, we were going about 15 to 17k an hour.
Brutal.
And turn around and you're just being, pushed up the hills.
Put the spinnaker up.
Yeah, it was fantastic. So it was kind of lucky for them. But I wanted to discuss something that I discovered.
Oh, okay.
You sure?
Yes.
Controversial, you mean?
Yes, Merksy.
All right.
I'm sure because I want
I
people's
love how
views on
Merksy's
this.
already asked about chafing and various other. And he's
I know.
going, really, Kate? You're
Really?
Gonna...
Well, we're not. Yeah, come on now. It's all in the name of road safety, Merksy, anything Amy Gillett Foundation related. So qualifying for the World Championship, people are taking this pretty seriously, like really seriously. And we had a heap of people who had employed, whether paid or unpaid, whether favours or not, had pace partners.
I love it.
So people who set out with them simply to pace them and help them qualify. What do we think?
Were they were they the people that were accompanying them superior bike riders? Were they setting a pace that was...
setting a pace and adjusting that pace to ensure that the qualifiee, the person trying to qualify, qualifier, was able to get, have a wheel to hold the whole time.
Ooh. Is that in the spirit of the event?
Well, that's my question. That's my question.
What's the answer?
Let's go to Hank.
Yeah, what's our views?
Well, isn't it called a World Championship qualifier?
Yes.
So you've just put the word championship in there. It's now not, you've just turned it to something else. If it's, you have to qualify. It's not just a Grand Fondo anymore.
No.
And I like the
stakes have been raised.
They do it in running. They pace.
That's true.
They do it in running. They pace. And it's not like, if you're pushing, doping or pushing or getting in a car, that's cheating. I reckon pacing's fine. Bring it on.
What
I think
do you
it's
reckon, Joel?
Initially, I admit, I'm sort of like, I don't know. It seems like a bit of an unfair way to get a barometer of where you're at. I'm not 100% sure I'm in love with it. If you're turning up there, shouldn't you have done the work to be able to hit the pace, and shouldn't that be part of the challenge?
Yeah, I
don't know.
But it's not under race rules.
No, there are their own rule book for Grand Fondos. I mean, I have a view on each mind, to be honest, because on one hand I say, like, go for it, do what you need to do. And then on the other hand, I'm like, yeah, but pacing in running, they just pace from the front.
So you're sitting on the fence. You're sitting on the fence.
A little bit, Maxie. I guess I am, because this isn't just pacing from the front. It's not like you have 20 paces keeping the bunch going. It's like individual people. And people entering simply for that purpose, or dropping back from other categories. So you might have had like a 30 to 45-year-old male entering in that category, starting first and then waiting to pace riders who were starting further back in different age categories.
Yeah, but it's a mass starting race and there's no real rules about collusion. So if it says in the rule book you're not allowed to collude, but in cycling it happens every race. It happened this week. Yeah. When I was in China, the two teams worked together to pull their prize money together and they won everything. So, but this isn't, there's no real rules around Grand Fondo. It's just whoever goes across the line. I think it's overlooked, and I don't think really anyone cares.
I think you'd be surprised about who cares.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Bit
people take it very no, just opinions. Like, people take it very seriously.
But how far do you take it then? Do you say, oh, well, you sat on the bunch, so you're disqualified?
Oh, yeah. I don't think you can regulate it. Like, I think
there's
that's
no regulation.
Silly. No, I think
you guys are just talking about the spirit here,
I think so.
You got to be, because there's no real rules, so you can kind of do what you want.
Yeah, you can do it. It's just whether it's in the spirit or not. And I'm not normally a fence sitter, so for me to be on the fence about something, it might be refreshing, Merksy, actually. Yeah, but I don't know that I have a solid view on this one.
No,
but a lot of people talking about it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, my instinct was surely that's not in the spirit as Merksy said as well. But as if you were looked at like this is you can do what you got to do to get over the line.
Interestingly, and shout out to the Parramatta, since I've got this Para jersey, Parramatta Cycling Club crew that were there. I saw a couple of them. Was sensational. A fellow by the name of Mike Merriman, who I've known my entire life. Now he's gone down on multiple occasions. The aim was to qualify through, and he didn't this year, which shocked him. And he said that it was so much more serious this year than every other year. You know, he said he did a similar pace to the other times, but that put him so much further down in the classification than any other years.
So is this the first time it's been a qualifier for Worlds?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, there's
you know,
your answer, right?
So, actually, it might not have been the first time, but I think because, it's not the first time qualified, but because the World Championships are next year in Australia, it made this one
God, how many are they going to get next year? What are the numbers going to be like next year? You can imagine you're going to be double, you think?
Well, they had 4,000 in Denmark at the World Championships Grand Fondo not long ago.
And you guys were close to that.
Yeah. I mean, there'll be more for sure. But they're also running just the general Grand Fondo. So if you didn't qualify, you can still come and do it. You just aren't in the classification for a rainbow jersey. So, I mean, I could put the challenge out. We've got 100K at Brisbane to Gold Coast.
I'd be
coming
keen to
up.
Do that next year.
122K isn't that much further.
I've never done Amy's Grand Fondo. No, you'd be able to do it.
I'll do it if you pace me.
Okay, done.
No, hang on. No, I'll pace you.
Done. Done. You did.
No.
Hold on.
Did you see that was the world's biggest handbrake right then?
I was
going to out.
Edit that out, Merksy.
Edit that out.
We don't edit.
It was
Joel's like, just throw me the ball, will you?
Yeah. I mean, coach, all right, let's do it. 122 Ks. Yawn. No, not a yawn. Cool. All of the controversy aside, it sounds like an incredibly successful trip.
It was.
And it's so good to see the foundation back up doing
It is, and with amazing support as well. And on the Friday night, Merksy and I went for dinner at one of the AGF board members' house, Phil Anderson.
Oh.
The one and only. The legend.
Yeah. Oh, my old teammate.
Now, he's such an interesting fella. Like, he's got such an incredible career, but the man behind the career is far more interesting than any of the results. And he had another fella there. Hank, I reckon you might know him, Clyde Sefton.
Yep.
Australia's only Olympic medalist in the men's road race.
Wow. That's really quite surprising because we're a powerhouse now and we weren't back then. So
Did your old man ride 72?
No, he did 64 on the team's pursuit. Okay. So he was done by 68. So
it was just watching.
He knew Clyde. He knew Clyde.
And Clyde raced. He was a good fella, wasn't he, Merck?
He was.
Had some great stories.
And interestingly, nowadays he farms deer. And he sends their antlers to China. What was it for, Kate?
For strength and energy and recovery.
For aphrodisiac purposes.
Yes, for strength and energy and recovery, as I said.
Yes. So I brought a few home. That's great.
Just a few deer antlers. Oh, my gosh.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, it's like for above the mantelpiece.
Sure, Merksy.
Excellent. Okay. All right. Well, so moving on from that. But
I thought it was interesting.
Made the luggage a little bit horny for the ride home.
Yeah, enough about chafing.
Phil Anderson, oh my gosh, has a little museum in his house. He brought back all of his trophies from his career, which is remarkable because I don't think I brought a single one back from Europe, to be honest. They're all probably in a suitcase in a Oz Cycling storage somewhere or long thrown out. But he's got all of them in cabinets. And the most curious thing, he's got his ponytail.
Oh,
framed, lopped off.
He kept it.
Yeah, it's framed.
And it's plaited.
Yep, beautifully plaited.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Looks like Elsa's
sentimental.
From Frozen.
Yeah.
Except brown.
Yeah. Except
brown. They were pretty famous locks.
Yeah, they were.
Back in the day with those Oakley factory pilots and that long hair in TVM era.
So it's immortalised in a beautiful frame in his house.
That's super cool.
And every jersey that has a story, and he would pull one out at a time and tell the story. Really magnificent. And these beautiful old woolen jerseys that have been magnificently laundered and folded, so he would just pull another one out, hold it up, tell a story. pulled one out and said, "Oh, Commonwealth Games," and there was a hole in the jersey. He said, "Oh, that was a broken collarbone, that one." And
he should open a resort like Sagan.
Sagan Peter.
yeah, Sagan
They
Peter.
should go
But
into business together.
it is interesting actually because we don't, as such, have an Australian cycling museum.
Yeah.
How good would that be? That'd be good.
Well, you've just thrown it out there now.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Wheelhouse could get behind that, I reckon.
Oh, absolutely.
We could throw a mountain of cash at that, couldn't we, Merksy?
Do you think I could
Could
pop
heaps of
the Eels jersey
No.
in just as...
We'll put that at the back
No?
of the lock of hair wing,
All right.
which is probably the biggest wing we're going to have because
Yeah,
now that that's a thing, I think everyone's going to start cutting their hair off and framing it.
it is very
Well,
cool.
there's enough mullets around at the
yeah.
moment.
There are, for better or worse.
Take full advantage.
Have a couple
Definitely
of-
not better.
Deer antlers at the entrance.
There
You
go.
could hang the jerseys on those.
That's not all you can hang on them, according to
Oh,
Merksy. All right,
moving on.
let's go to Zurich. So the Worlds are coming up. You guys spoke about the end of GT season, but that doesn't mean the end of anything else. So we're back to Zurich. We're here for the first time, but we've had some worldsy events there in the last few years. How does it stack up? Are you pumped? What are we looking at? 270 odd kilometres?
Yeah, I'm excited. I always love Worlds. Worlds is always something very special. And the last time they were raced in Switzerland in Mendrisio 2009, our only ever Road World champion, Cadel Evans, he won.
He
That's
did it.
where he did it.
So it's a happy place
So
for Australia.
happy,
away.
4.8 kilometre break he won from.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's an interesting one this year because you have to think who can possibly beat Pogacar. He's the man of long breakaways.
Well,
So, is that what we're looking at? The longest ever breakaway at a World Championships was 90 kilometres in Imola in 1968.
90
90 kilometres solo for Vittorio Andoni.
Okay.
Andorni, pardon me.
Yeah. Were the others like on foot or something? Or?
Yeah, they just gave up, had a coffee on the way.
Just had a cuppa. Wow.
But that's what we're looking at potentially, like a massive breakaway for Pogacar. That's how he does it.
Are we looking at any names outside the not oft touted Evenepoels, Van Aerts?
there's always.
Cool.
I think the Americans have got a really strong team. The Dutchies, the Belgians, they're all super strong. Bling's got a good chance. Michael Matthews, but yeah, I don't think Pogacar. He's marked, like as soon as he moves.
Yeah, but he's marked at Lombardia the last couple of years and he's still rode off and won.
Yeah, Worlds is a different story. It's always like Lombardia's trade team cycling. World Championships, we've got the strongest 8 guys from France, strongest German, the big nations. They can kind of, that's the best of the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
So I believe that he won't have it at all his own way. I mean, he's odds-on favourite and he's looking like he's going to ride away from everyone. But Van der Poel has actually lost a shit ton of weight.
Mm-hmm.
So he's looking as skinny and he knows that he had to lose weight to try and follow Pogacar. It's not all about, like last year, when Van der Poel won, it was all power, just pure power, short, steep, sharp and hard. And that's what he's really, really good at. Whereas this year he knows he has to climb a bit more. So I'm really excited to watch it because I think it's going to come down to those two. And, there's always 2 or 3 guys who you don't realise who are going way better. Like Mark Hershey won 5 races out of 6 starts last week. I mean, he's no flash in the pan. He's always really good at the end of the year.
And he's a local.
Exactly. And you wonder why he's won so many races so close to his World Road Championships. So Hershey, for me, will be there. I'm a little worried about what's going to happen with Michael Matthews because, yes, he's the fastest, but he needs some teammates to try and bring back his bromance man in Tadej Pogacar.
Well, we've got a pretty strong Aussie team. So, but the comment about trade team versus national team, it is a big difference. If you even look back at the Olympics, this is a completely different race.
Yep.
For the men, there's 8 here. For the women, that they only had 1, 2 or 3 in Paris, and we've got 6 Aussies out there for the women. So very different dynamic.
Yes.
But, Michael Matthews has
Stronger.
been on the podium 3 times,
Yeah.
2015, 2017, 2022,
Yeah.
a silver, 2 bronzes.
It's extraordinary, his career at World Championships, and I still think he should have won in Richmond. I watched that.
Whoa.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
You don't think so, Merksy?
Peter Sagan,
No,
man.
I actually think that Matthews should have been world champion that year. I just don't think
Coulda,
he had
shoulda.
anyone to bring him back. He won that sprint easy, and Sagan was blowing kisses with, maybe 100 metres to go. But if someone had ridden, Matthews would have been world champion. So, and because it was very close to finish the climb, and if Guerrero had ridden, and I don't know where Guerrero was, I probably couldn't get to the front or something, but a little bit more support, I reckon he could have been world champion. That's the one that got away from Matthews for me out of that whole lot. But that could be a possibility. But for me, 4,715 metres elevation over 276 kilometres in Zurich with super fast climbing roads. Yeah, maybe a bridge too far, but I really hope he's got someone who can try and bring him back.
Who would that be? Who should it be?
Simon Clark is generally always there in this time of the year, but
he's not out there. That's the thing.
Yeah, so I'm not sure.
Bit of a
the
change
area
in the guard.
You said before, golden era, we're hearing a lot about it. Obviously, Oz cycling doing amazing things. Is this one area where we could use a few more contenders?
Yeah, I mean, like Kate just said, we haven't won a medal in the men's road race. We've been close. We've been super close. So, Matthews was third in
22.
In 22.
Yeah.
I'll miss Plappy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've got good talent coming up, but it's a 2-horse race for me, the World Road Championships for men with those two guys, Evenepoel and Pogačar.
But does the question, guys, is does Van der Poel have a farmer's daughter knock on?
I was about to say.
Should the need arise?
Well, let's hope that someone doesn't concrete their hand into the Swiss will just remove them quickly. Don't worry.
No, yeah.
Cut his hand off.
Oh, it will be beautiful. In the women's, it'll be really interesting because Lotte Kopecky could well go back to back. I mean, she's.
Is it not too hard for her? Do you think Vollering will ride away?
Demi Vollering going early.
If you just look at their style of riding and their highlights, you might say yes. But then if you look at the Giro and in the Queen's Stage, Kopecky barely got dropped. And Tour of Romandy, they couldn't drop her on the climbs. I just don't think in the 154 kilometres it's long enough and hard enough to really crack her.
What's the longest ladies' race, Kate? Is it? This has got to be right up there, right?
It is, yeah. So it has to be less than 160.
Why?
But, until a couple of years ago, it had to be less than 140, and until a little bit before that, it was 120. So they're getting longer and longer, incrementally. But, we've also got an under-23 category now for the women, which is a big game changer.
Next year.
Yeah. But
not this year.
No, but within the race, they still are eligible. They're eligible to give that. And we've got Izzy Carnes riding the time trial, which is unreal. We love Izzy Carnes.
Yeah, well, she's one of our girls.
Izzy.
Yeah.
So you're saying a race in... Oh, sorry, please.
No,
please.
And she's riding because she qualified through Oceania Championships as the champion. So that's unreal that Oz Cycling is supporting her to go.
Well, if anyone can...
Izzy can't.
We said 2 contenders in the men's, and we've kind of really tapped into 2 in the women's. Who else are we looking at? Can I just say, Balsamo's name comes up before every major race, every single major race, but she doesn't seem to often get into that upper echelon, but she's always in the mix.
Yeah, good observation. She's always there. The Italian team always comes prepared. And 15 years ago, it was the German team. Like the German team always were in contention.
Yep.
And the German cycling's not in the same spot anymore, but the Italian women's team have really stepped up. And so I think Balsamo is in the running. But what'll be interesting is actually the American team. They've got Olympic champion in Kristen Faulkner, and whether she's been able to maintain her form, whether she carries the confidence in. One thing I do know about the American team is they're not known for working particularly well together. So that will bite them, because when you have squads where the patriotism really comes out and they're absolutely all in to get a world champion versus a team where they're not necessarily as committed to the cause, I think that can really affect the outcome of the race.
And what about our defending Tour de France champion, Kasia Niewiadoma?
Oh, look, what a year she's had.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. What a breakout year. I mean, she's now got the confidence, right? When you just get wings once you get some big race wins.
Spot
She's always
on.
been there, and she's always been part of the furniture at the front end of the race. But now she's got this, confidence. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
is she somebody? Oh, she must be somebody in the top 5.
I
Surely.
think so. I mean, the climbs are very kind of Ardennes inspired, and she really excels
That's
in
her
that
thing.
regard. She won Gravel Worlds last year, which was a big turnaround. That was the moment where she went from being always the bridesmaid to the bride, and since then she's just had an incredible season. And I'm
Yeah.
a big fan of hers. She's just a lovely human being, and I like seeing those people succeed. And
Cosmo,
Poland for the women have never won a world title. Slovenia for the men, surprisingly. Pogačar got third. They did get.
God, they could clean up this year.
Yeah, well,
With
they've
Roglic,
never.
Yeah,
with
we got-
Roglic, they've won every Grand Tour.
Yeah, but they've never won a world title. So Andre Hauptmann is the only Slovenian to stand on the podium at a world championship.
Wow.
Before, he was third in 2001. He's now an assistant director sportif at UAE. So he's working with the POG.
Yeah.
So, I like seeing history made for nations too.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool. That's something that you get at world championships in their national colours more than ever.
Yeah,
we love seeing
I
that.
always loved
Yeah.
doing riding for Australia. It was some of the coolest moments ever, actually.
Yep. Do you reckon we'll see fireworks between Faulkner and the Vollering and Kopecky pair after a couple
Yeah.
of past sort of...
I think so. I think in an Olympic year, sometimes you think the worlds are less important, but I think often it gives you another chance to settle some
Worlds
settle
are
some
more
dues.
important.
Worlds are worlds.
For the
carry the
riders.
jersey.
Me personally, I believe that the World Road Championship is more important than the Olympic Championship,
Yeah, okay.
and that's the only time I'll say it for the road race. Meaning, not for any other events, although the track events and everything else like that and time trial, I believe, are more important to win Olympic. But the World Road title is more important than the Olympic road title. You know why? You get to wear the rainbow jersey for 12 months. You're not allowed to wear any Olympic rings. If on anything, on your bikes, on your jerseys, you are not allowed to promote and that in any other events. So people want to be world champion.
And on your sleeve for the rest of your career. So, yeah, I agree with
But
that.
it does change the complexion of the following season when you've got someone in rainbows. You've got they're the hunted. That changes the way that a lot of riders approach.
I mean, we
does.
get
each
this.
race.
We can go down a rabbit hole about the curse of the World Championship jersey, and it exists, but apparently not for Peter Sagan. But I believe it's worth more.
Speaking of that, where's Tobias Foss these days?
Exactly.
Yeah, good question.
No knock on
No.
Tobias at all. I'm just
Yeah, I mean, I don't
bang.
think he was expected to win when he did in Wollongong.
Speaking of time trials.
Thank you, Merksy. That was the
Yes, I know.
yeah. You knew, didn't you? Didn't you?
Beautiful little segue
Workshopping
there.
the segue. So someone who will be time trialing but won't be wearing rainbows and nothing to do with the Olympics is Grace Brown.
Well, hopefully she's wearing rainbows on the podium, but after that, it'll just make for very good decoration.
Yeah.
To go next to her ponytail if she chooses to lop that off and
Go up
frame
on
it.
the shelf next to the Olympic gold medal. That'd look nice.
She's been second the last 2 years, obviously with her incredible form in Paris and her trajectory. It would be hard to argue against her being the hot favourite.
How is her form? Does anyone got any inside line on that?
I-
I'm not a bettor, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm not going down the. I'm not going down
I
chuck a fiver on
understand
her or anything.
that this is really the jewel in the crown for her career. So,
So she
she's
could be-
all eyes on this.
Olympic champion and wear the rainbow jersey in the same year and then just hang them both up.
Oh, see, that just
Yeah.
cracks me.
That's
Oh,
insane.
it just makes me feel ill.
What?
It makes me feel a little bit ill. Well, like generally in pro cycling, if you're the world champion, it's like cha-ching,
Yeah.
bring on the big dollars. I'm just going to go straight on the gravy for the next 4 years and wear my jersey, get fat, and just get paid the bank. But she wants to go home and do that anyway and not get paid.
It's not all about the money.
Oh, I know, but
She wants
I'm
to have
just-
the
I'm
babies
trying to get
and
my
the
head-
family
Oh,
and
yeah,
the
yeah,
normal.
I know. This is just a man's opinion.
I know. I mean, I get it, but it will be very unusual. I hope she wins rainbows because what a jewel in the crown. But it will be very
Do you reckon
unusual.
she'll change her mind?
Surely.
No, I don't think so.
You don't reckon?
No,
She's done?
not that. She's not the kind to change
Okay.
her mind. Like, she makes it with conviction.
What if she got
for
offered
a
€1
good reason.
million? Like
Oof.
1 million.
Million
Million euros. I mean, who's offering it to her? But that's a conversation for her, I suppose.
Well, we're
But
talking
short
that
of-
kind of money if the world's best riders now. And
Yeah,
the
but
ladies'
I mean,
side.
short of that, I can't see her backtracking on her decision. But I will admit, if she was an Australian and we were talking about a rider potentially winning a world championship and then not representing in the jersey, I would be critical and I would say, what a shame. Terrible to not have the jersey out there. But it's Grace Brown and I really would
here's
love
a-
her to win
She do what
rainbows.
she wants. Okay.
Here's another
Yeah.
one for you. You hear about ladies in elite sport having babies and coming back.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Could we? Maybe she could have a
maybe.
baby and come back.
Have her cake and eat it too.
We've
Why
seen
not?
it this
So to
year, haven't
speak.
we?
We have. I mean, hello,
Do you reckon
Ellen
you could
Van
do
Dyke.
that in the same season?
Oh, physiologically, it would be a pretty big ask.
No, I mean not next year if that was what
Oh,
they
right.
were planning.
I see. Specificity, Hank.
Sorry. Not have a baby and win the world ride title
okay,
in the same
I see.
the time trial title. I mean.
Well, I think the challenge for Grace Brown over the Europeans is the family and community because,
Yes.
the Europeans can live
Go home.
pretty close to home, have Nana look after bubs while they're travelling and whatnot. It's a little bit different for the Australian riders. They don't have that community and support system.
And that
so,
goes across the board for all Australian athletes that have to live in Europe, whether
Yeah.
they're having babies or not.
That's it.
That hurts them. It really does. The support network isn't there for Australian athletes. So,
yeah. And I mean, unless Oz Cycling want to go into the creche business.
yeah.
But, I'm not
There's a
sure.
revenue stream.
Yeah.
Let's get Albanese on the phone.
Yeah.
So
He
Grace-
needs voters, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, they got money to spare. They're only throwing $600 million at the Papua New Guinea rugby league bid. So
Oh, and
there
you
go.
don't sound dirty about that at all.
Not at
my
all.
Lord.
No. It's I love
You support
politicised
that?
sport.
Oh.
You know how much I love it. I love it when politics and sport mesh. It's great.
Yeah, just stay away from our eels.
You can have them.
Sure.
Grace Brown. Okay, so
That was a real shiver.
that was
It
a
really
genuine
was.
shiver.
Mate,
It was like
me
an
up.
eel
I
had
actually
swum
felt
against my
that
leg.
from me.
It was like an eel. Chloe Doggett. So let's talk rivalry. Let's talk Grace Brown's hopes of getting that rainbow on that podium before bowing out. I want to open with the USA threat. You've opened with the USA threat on the road.
It's an interesting one because I think Grace Brown went in as one of the favourites in Paris, but I was surprised how much she won by because I thought Chloe Doggett would really, it would be very, very close and hoped that Grace would win, but thought that Doggett might prevail. Doggett, she's motivated by things she doesn't achieve. The more that is put in her way, the harder she charges at it.
Okay.
And so I think that she will come to Worlds with a little bit more grunt.
Well, did Chloe punch or crash in Paris?
She did, but
had a
that
crash.
wasn't the...
No. I mean, she
Yeah.
was going to get beaten, but
Yeah,
she
she
did
did.
have a mechanical mishap or
Yep.
a crash. And one of the other American riders crashed 3 times.
She did, yes. Yep. She was a triathlete and was there for the triathlon and did
She
very
was
well
there
in
for the triathlon. Maybe this is going to hurt, but maybe she should have stayed doing the triathlon.
Stayed in
Well-
the Seine, you reckon?
Sorry?
Stayed in the Seine.
Well, no, that was dirty.
That's Merxie's kind of river.
Did she wear short socks?
No, she had long aero socks on, so she wasn't even identifiable as a triathlete. Very talented.
I like triathletes. They're lovely people. They just need to stick to triathlon.
Just to stick to triathlon. Okay.
Throwing down the gauntlet.
Oh, well.
Jeez, we're going to have to move on before something
Have I ever
really
sat on the
offensive
fence?
gets
Have I really ever sat on the fence?
No,
would
and I
ask-
usually don't. Maybe about the Grand Fondo pacing, but otherwise I don't.
Okay. Grace Brown, we've had a glorious year. I mentioned it earlier. Everyone's talking about it being such a wonderful time for Oz cycling, which it is. But then careers end. So who steps up? Grace Brown, if Hank's theory, or, doesn't come to pass and we don't see a comeback, where's
Izzy
that
Carnes.
torch going?
Well,
Is he?
yeah, Izzy Carnes will
Izzy?
be there, but Brodie Chapman is also riding the time trial.
Yep.
She did really well at Nationals and so close and was really pushing for a spot in the time trial. I think she could give it a good nudge. But you do notice, whether it's the men or the women, when you have success breeds success, and you have a bigger pipeline of athletes. And we've got some really great young talented riders like Felicity Wilson-Haffenden. She was junior world champion, and last year she's had a bit of a rough year. This year needed surgery on some injuries, and
it's always tough the first couple of years.
It's really tough, but
no matter who you are,
give them a few years and they emerge out with a lot of talent. So we'll miss Grace, but I think we still have a pretty good pipeline.
We're in a good spot, I think, with the young ladies.
Was that her Paris? Was that her Ash Barty moment? Was that her get your gold medal, Ash? Just like when she got that Aussie Open, was just like, you know what? I'm good.
Yeah, isn't it remarkable? We have a few female athletes who do that, the absolute peak, but you couldn't choose to go out on a higher moment. Like so often you'd like to orchestrate that for your career and it just doesn't come to pass. So it was actually quite nice for her, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's go from Aussie hopes to transitions. So one of the big names making a little bit of a disciplinary change, Kate, we love talking about this. We love when you're going from the road to the mountain bike or from the mountain bike to that penny farthing that sponsored by Canadian Club back in the old days.
Yes.
That's not what's happening for Pauline Ferrand-Prévot, but is going across out of the mountains and just looking ahead to the road.
Well, she's been Road World Champion before in 2015, road, mountain bike and cyclocross, all in 1 year.
What a freak.
Oh, hello.
Oh, wow.
She's got 10 world titles on the mountain bike. She's incredible.
Yeah.
She's tried to...
She's now bored.
Now she's like, you know what? Yeah, I don't need all of this in my day anymore.
But I think as an athlete, when you're doing different disciplines, and I experienced this doing track and road, you do get to a point where you really wonder, what would I be able to achieve if I focus just on one discipline?
It's kind of like Van der Poel.
Yeah, because there is absolute benefit to doing multiple, but I think that benefit, a lot of that is realised when you're quite young, and it's skills and training, craft, and the different approaches to things. Once you're more established, you get less benefit from all of that. You need more recovery, less race days, and so I think it's a good move for her for career longevity.
Well, like once you knock up that 10th, you kind of
but realistically, she could get multiple jerseys at a Tour de France.
Yeah.
So that didn't exist a few years ago.
Yeah.
So that would be a big pull for her as a French woman.
I still think 3 Aussies wearing the jerseys at the same time is a better stat.
Look,
one rider wearing them all would be really impressive, but we'll just take that one.
It is. I agree.
Okay.
Hang on to that one.
Now, one that nearly wasn't in the rundown, Hank and I had to say, Kate, there's a bit of news that we haven't got. We should definitely talk about, of course, Wout van Aert. And Kate said, who? That didn't happen. That absolutely never has happened on this podcast, but he's in the rundown again. Not going to say who put him there, Kate. Excuse me, Kate.
It was Merckxy, actually.
And the note we've got here is Wout signs with Visma forever and ever. So that, the old eternity deal, as they say.
Marriage.
I mean, there's only one person in cycling that signed a lifetime contract.
Who's that, Merckxy?
That's Phil Liggett.
It's Phil Liggett with NBC.
NBC.
Yeah.
Well, there is another person who's kind of got a lifetime contract.
Yes, and that is?
Cadel Evans.
Cadel Evans with BMC.
With BMC.
Hang on.
Okay.
I love the loyalty.
Ambassador for life.
Yep. I mean, I'd argue that although maybe not inked on paper or publicised, Van der Poel and Canyon.
Well, that was 10 years.
You know, I know, 10 years, and then they'll want to renew. I mean, I feel like that's...
Bet you he owns... I bet you he's got shares in the company too.
Well, he should by now.
Yeah.
He's achieved so much for them. But it is not something that's usually done.
Van Aert.
Yeah, Van Aert takes a lot of trust and commitment.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Well, I mean, everyone remembers in the Tour de France a couple of years ago when he attacked in the yellow jersey, came in solo and did the full Red Bull give you wings. He was the only one in the team who was allowed to wear the Red Bull hat. No, it wasn't Magpie. So, don't get me started on those little fuckers. But I was certain that he was going to get bought out by Red Bull. And this is a massive move from Visma Lease Bike to stop that from happening, because I reckon they've come incredibly hard for him.
There would have to be a lot of
I
money
reckon it
involved.
would have been roughly between 7 to 10 million a year for the next 5. I reckon they are massive numbers, and I reckon they've just said, we can't afford to lose this guy, because anything can happen to Vingegaard, and all of a sudden they are off the top of the list as a powerhouse in cycling. So, yeah, Red Bull have come hard, and they've gone harder again. So,
Well, it was only last year there was chat about Quick-Step and Visma merging into a super team.
yes.
So what if that happens?
I would not like to see that happen. I'd really hate to see Quick-Step go, because we need those teams in cycling. So that's one less powerhouse team.
Yeah.
It would be a very curious contract. You know,
The Wout deal.
Yeah, the
Okay.
Wout deal. I feel as though there would be a lot of,
Asterisks?
clauses and caveats around things. You know,
Well, performance, firstly. Like, surely if you're 2-3 years from now and a few more.
He's got 5
Injuries.
years,
Oh,
I reckon.
I
I reckon he's got 5 years left of racing, and then
Yep.
he will straight into the VIP tent,
Yep.
straight on the beers.
Onto the speaking circuit.
Every single time, every race, he will be in the VIP car, and he'll be
Yeah.
at every Visma, Lisa bike, whatever it's called, who owns the team. He will just be taken care of.
Is that sort of
customers.
part of this deal, I guess, as well, that they sort of trot him out as the team legend?
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
I mean, I would think that the clauses and the asterisks and the outs are actually in the benefit of Wout, not the team.
Yep.
So that if the team changes materially, if they change sponsors or merge, if it becomes something different, then he would have the opportunity to leave. That would be my thought. But that they want him, they show faith in him. They've got a great relationship and they've inked that in the most legal way possible. But
two things. He's proven again and again he's a team player.
Yeah.
And the other thing is he's got damn good hair.
Yeah.
He does have good hair.
you got
He's
good hair
he's
too,
got to be the
Maxie.
most marketable bloke in cycling.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a huge.
No.
That's that, and that beyond the longevity of his actual riding career has to be a massive part of the thinking behind this. Because how awkward is that conversation if performance starts to dip to the point of we can't really keep using you in the next couple of years, and they have to have that conversation 2 years into a eternity contract.
But he's the kind of rider who won't continue riding for the money. Like he won't, a lot of riders then go to smaller teams, when they're not winning races anymore, but they want the coin.
Stick the knife.
Oh, babe, come on. But
Is he
truly,
still there, Maxie? You there, mate?
I'm here.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's true. And I don't see Ben Aert as being that character.
No.
When he's done, he's not going to just make up bunch numbers.
Well, no, he can't do that
So-
anyway. He's just signed his life away for ever going to another team. I think the contract, which I would love to see what the number figure is, but he sees his contract out. He's probably got 5 more years, I reckon. If he's 30, 35, and Jens Voigt got to 38, 39, Valverde roughly the same. So at a maximum 7 years, I would say, to him. And then he is literally going to be at the VIP tent at DS.
And
He's
that's
going to
it.
be possibly the new manager. He will be used forever for any. It's a great move by Visma Lisa Bike, because he's one of the most marketable guys on earth for the next 10 years, because he's a good-looking rooster. Every guy wants to be him, and every lady would like to be with him.
Cameras
Do you know
on
what I
you,
mean?
Kate.
Well-
So,
Cameras on you.
I was just thinking.
No. And he is. He's a good-looking fella who's one of the best bike riders in the world. So they've got a great. They're going to be attracting sponsors for the next 10 years in any way, shape, or form with him in the team. Even if he's still not the best in the world, he's the most marketable guy on earth.
I mean, maybe at 35 they'll cryogenically freeze him.
Yes.
They haven't already? Surely you have to cut at least a lock of that hair for his museum and then send the other to the cloning lab. So you think, I'm banging this horse, but 2 years from now, I can't believe what I just said. Edit
Banging
that out.
a
I'm not. No, I'm banging this drum. The horse we didn't work out. Performance is down when you can't ride anymore. 2 years into this deal, and you reckon he'll be happy to say, okay, I'll just spend the rest of my, cycling association days going to the tents and appearing as your high-paid ambassador. You reckon he'd be okay?
Yeah, no, he may. I mean, he's a really competitive beast, so he's probably going to want to get in the car as a director and then he might move into, the owner of the team's general manager.
Yep.
He might be the guy getting the sponsors. He might be the VIP guy, but a lifetime contract. I've never heard of it.
It's cool. I like it.
We don't see a lot, like in other sport as well. You see the odd 5 and 10 year deal in our summer codes, but the old life contract is not.
I mean, three of us in here and Merksy in the control room, we've got lifetime contracts with the Wheelhouse.
No, you tried to get one, you and Joel, and we wouldn't sign it. So.
Oh,
no,
poo-poo.
those lifetime contracts, mate, they're on your left finger. Jeez.
Yeah.
Here.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
Just need to
Merksy.
upgrade, Merksy.
Hey, you've got one of those
Got an
sleep
aura
rings.
ring. Moving on,
Hey?
Hank. Take it away, Joel.
Don't get me started.
A couple of Aussie contract updates as well, Catherine.
Yeah, we've got some young fellas
Yeah.
heading to the World Tour, Hank.
While we're talking about, just quickly going back to the Worlds, young Hamish McKenzie from Hagen's Berman, who's going to actually be going to Jayco in the future. He had a crash 200 metres from home 4 days out from the World Championships. He broke his nose, concussion, so he's unfortunately out. And he was second in Glasgow last year in the under-23 time trial, so he's out. But that sucks because he possibly could have won the World Time Trial Championships this year, which would have been great. So he's out. But young Oscar Chamberlain, the Junior World Champion, I should say, has just signed a 3-year deal with AG2R Decathlon. So he's on board. And one of our riders, Declan Trezise, is currently doing a stagiaire role, which is a tryout for Astana. So it looks like he's going there. And Jackson Medway is going to go to Tudor for Cancellara's team. So there's a couple of good young riders who are signing.
Yeah, with Lulu.
Good boy Lulu.
Yeah.
And yeah, we just got to hopefully young Alistair McKellar will end up at Jayco Alula as well, because he's one of the best under 23s in Australia. So stay tuned on that one. Hopefully that one goes through. So there's a couple of little contract things for the young guys.
Yeah, go Aussies.
An exclusive Wheelhouse update right there for you from Hank Vogels. If you're tuning into any other podcast, delete them now, because that's what you come here to get. That was outstanding. That was bloody great. Hang on a sec. Hello? Sorry? You want conditions in Zurich Road? Oh, no. Oh, you're a bookmaker. Oh, no, Hank Vogels. I'll send you his number. Okay. Sorry, I don't mean to take calls during work. Okay, let's go to Loxton. So the Junior and Masters Nationals as well. Kate, your eyes lit up when we were speaking about this before the show.
Yeah, it just reminded me, my first ever national championships were in Harndorf in South Australia in the under-13s.
Nice, pleasant, cool afternoon of riding.
Yes,
Yeah.
I won the under-13s. Michael Rogers, you might remember him.
Yes.
One of our
very
best ever time trialers. He won the under-15
Wow.
category. And actually in my year I also had Mark Renshaw racing. Rochelle Gilmore was there as well.
Jesus.
So
Blast from the past.
yeah, sometimes you have these awesome junior years and at the time you don't even really appreciate who you're surrounded by, but good memories. And junior nationals is like a rite of passage.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
You know, because there's no team cars, you don't have the setup like you do at elite. Like it's go out there and survive.
Man and girl for
And good luck to
yeah, and junior and masters nationals are always held kind of on the edge of winter. So it's usually bloody freezing. And it really is, like, it's so different to the experience you then get in elites.
I reckon once you do your first national titles, you're done for life. You're just addicted to cycling
broken in,
forever.
yeah,
That's it. As soon as you get to the nationals and you realise you see the state jerseys everywhere else, that's it. You're done. You're done for 50 years. You'll be riding your bike until you got arthritis.
It's quite cool.
Can we get down there before the Gold Coast ride? Because that might just be the inspiration.
Look, I'm not sure that we'll be able to, but but it's cool because it's with masters. You'll have 14-year-olds and 70-year-olds all competing together. I like that.
Yep. Legit pathway.
And
you're excited about the talent? I'm not going to ask you to list all of them. But,
I am, because every year you hear stories, isn't that? That's what I really like, actually. Hank, you catch up with people that you haven't seen in ages and they'll be like, oh, you should see this young girl we've got coming through in under 15.
Some good stuff.
Yeah.
Watch that one.
And you hear about them. They become like urban legend, and you hear about them for many, many years. And then all of a sudden you're seeing them race in their first national team jersey and you feel like you've been on the whole journey with them.
That's great.
And it's cool.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I mean, I remember commentating on Lucas Plapp when he was a junior, and at the time we thought he was remarkable, but now look at what he is.
Yeah.
You know, back then he was just a skinny pup,
Yes.
you know.
A pup, a plap.
Yeah,
plap,
like
plap.
a Plapp pup.
So when are the junior nationals? They're after Worlds, are they?
No, they're starting this weekend.
Okay.
Yeah. They've all they've made the trek down there.
This is strange they put the national titles on the same time as
Oh,
the world
look,
titles. So
we
we're going to
could-
go there?
We could have a scheduling conversation
Oh, my Lord.
on another day. I
Seriously.
mean, that's always a bugbear of mine, scheduling.
Why don't they do it at national championships when everyone else has national championships?
Oh, look, that's a question for another day, Henrik Kutzvogels.
Okay, let's
I had scheduling
There's
questions.
so many rabbit holes we
There's
can
Oh,
go.
so
yeah.
many.
I resisted when you were talking about the 50-degree heat in China, going, why are they riding
Why are they
at
riding?
this time of year when you're talking about welfare?
Yeah, it's crazy. But
All right.
I just quickly shout out to a friend of the show, Jack Scott. He's riding down there at Nationals on the road. From
good luck,
Jackie.
From Frizzy.
Good luck,
Elliot
Jack.
Schultz is his coach.
Go, you good thing.
Yep, he's one to watch.
And Elliot Schultz, he's a cracker. We had him at Esports Worlds. Unfortunately, he had a bit of a technical kerfuffle and didn't get to race the second
happens.
race. But
that guy has so much bad luck.
he's got so much talent, though. We just got to harness it.
I saw him crash in front of me when a race in Belgium and broke his collarbone when he was coming for the win. It's like every time I hear a story about him, he's crashing or something. Yeah, poor bar.
Oh, well, good luck to
bugger.
Jack.
Yeah, we love it. We love it. And the local newspapers will be salivating if he wins, because that's one of the great cliche headlines is, of course, Great Scott. So
It is.
let's get that happening. Now, the Commonwealth Games, Catherine, you would have been very happy to know, because we discussed, extensively the ramifications for athletes if the Com Games wilted, which they looked like
Indeed.
they were for a while, but Scotland's come to the rescue, with
Yes.
Victoria still footing a significant part of the bill.
Yes, well, I'm sure there's plenty of political podcasts also talking about the Commonwealth Games for a different reason. It's good. It will be scaled down, so they're only going to have 10 sports, Merksy, is that right? 10 sports?
Well, yeah, minimum 10. At the
minimum
moment.
10.
10
But
to 13.
we know that track cycling will be one of them, in no small part because of the Sir Chris Hoy Velodrome. You know, one of the most famous
cycling?
Scottish. You have to think, yes. Hasn't been announced yet, but you have to think that's a bit of an iconic sport to throw in. But it is very, very good to see the Commonwealth Games movement back. Not that we were scared it would disappear, but it didn't.
No, it didn't. But is this is Com Games light? Is this the new blueprint after what we've seen?
I
Or
reckon
is
it
this
probably
just-
will be.
Yeah.
I mean, look at all of the things that change not on purpose
Yeah.
that are hard to undo. And I'm thinking like work from home, or even kind of, video quality of some TV crosses using mobile phones, whereas years ago that would have never been acceptable. But then it changed out
COVID
of
made that
necessity.
okay.
And
Yeah.
but if you tune into the Wheelhouse Cycling podcast, you'll see beautiful production standards. No mobile phone quality here.
Yeah, what are we in now? Like 8K?
Yeah,
Mercy, or
8K definitely.
12K?
Yeah. If you run around the desk, it'll
Which I
be
do
like you never
often.
moved.
Let's be fair. I'll do laps before we start.
catch
the
up.
show.
every
that was
frame
a
of it.
Christmas party. There's no Australian broadcast deal signed yet.
Okay.
And the
that's
unfortunate thing is it's moved to not a great time zone. Like Melbourne, Victoria would have been a great time zone.
Are we
Yeah.
bidding for it, Merksy?
We might throw our hat in the ring. Seven's got some issues.
Yeah. Yeah, well, look,
Yeah,
we
okay.
could put our hand up for it.
Yeah.
Might end
we'll
up on
tell them we'll
SBS.
send them some deer horn pills instead of in lieu
Get
of
Clyde
cash.
Sefton
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, that's a different meaning when you say harden up.
Oh, my God.
Some deer horn
We're
pills and
gonna
a
have
lock
to-
of hair. Okay.
All right,
Shark fin
moving
soup.
on.
But you know what? I hope that it does give it a blueprint moving forward, because let's call it what it was. This was a bungle of epic proportions, and it did not look good. And it made not just Victoria, but Australia look a bit behind the eight ball with all of this. So
It was
good
a
to see
major
it's-
stuff up. Like,
Yeah, awful.
But you can't run events where you make massive losses anymore, right?
Yeah, that's it.
That's got to be done. Like
But
otherwise, it's always going to end.
And that's another post-COVID sort of thing. I think sport making those reckonings and sort of coming to terms with, we can't splash what we used to on certain events, exhibitions, tours, whatever it is. This one, my question was always, why would you not crunch the numbers before you made the commonwealth? Why?
That's the
How did you put
eternal
the cart
question.
before the horse?
Brisbane, when we had Gold Coast,
Yeah.
Commonwealth Games, they did a great job because they used it essentially as an infrastructure plan to upgrade facilities from 1982. So we had the Chandler Velodrome from 82, and then we
now
got a new
Annemiek's.
one, the Annemiek's Velodrome, and it became a real legacy program. And when that infrastructure already exists, you should use it. But Melbourne, they were talking about building a new velodrome, and as a sport,
Oh, my Lord.
you try, you're like, hey, but they already have two beautiful indoor velodromes. So even though cycling may have wanted another one, it wasn't necessary.
And that's what a lot of the criticism was like, this infrastructure exists. What are you doing?
Yeah,
and the other, the spread of it as well, the footprint of it being as big as it was going to be with the whole regional involvement, which I love, don't get me wrong, but again, just an overbite as far as what they could actually...
Look, Glasgow's in a great position. They had Super Worlds last year, so for cycling, I think it would almost be an easy rollout for any of that. They've got the infrastructure, so they are able to plug and play, and I hope that's what we'll see in the future to make it possible.
Just like the Brisbane Olympics, we got a perfectly good athletic stadium from 1982. It'll be fine.
Wading into some local politics here.
Wow.
I really, really hope they build a nice
will.
stadium.
I think
You think they
I
will?
hope
I think
so
they
too.
will.
I'm
We have,
praying they do.
state election coming up, and the guy who's polling very strongly is saying there is absolutely no chance we're proceeding with that plan. Victoria Park being the seemingly obvious plan B. It should have been probably plan A. Anyway, not getting political, but we'll see.
Put that
We'll
on the
see.
list for another day with
We'll send
the
them some deer horns. And
calendar issues.
let's go to Britain.
Send them some deer horns.
Send them some deer horns and a lock of hair and
Here
everything.
you go,
will be
Mr.
okay.
Christopher Foley. Here's some deer antler.
Some
Just-
fried donkey.
Just get it right. If you're going to bid for the event, just
Get it right.
Sort your shit out. Okay.
Yeah.
Tour de France going back to Britain in 2027. Not the first time. It's happened a couple of times. I remember the Yorkie start.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
10
that
years
was-
ago.
was unbelievable.
That was epic.
That
That was
was
so cool.
unbelievable. That was probably the biggest Tour de France start I've ever seen.
Yeah.
In my lifetime, anywhere.
I think it's great. I love them starting outside of France.
Poms love it.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Poms love it.
It's great for new audiences. It's great for crowd. It's
In July too. It's great weather. Everyone gets out.
yeah, a bit better in the UK than it is in mainland Europe at that time of year,
Yeah.
actually, temperature-wise. But
Can
I
they go
mean,
through the tunnel? Can they go in that tunnel? Under the tunnel?
well, it's
Probably.
a
That'd be
train,
pretty
darling.
boring.
Well, yeah, we put it on the train and then you...
Well, I think they'll probably get transported that way. I mean, that's probably the biggest.
They could fly.
They could fly.
They can't swim.
It's the biggest fact really when they're having remote starts is the transfers.
Well, Tour de France
But-
starts in every different country every
Exactly,
year.
it's not a big transfer, so it's just how
can swim
many
across.
how many stages they'll have before they then do the transfer, because often the transfers a rest day, and to have a rest day super early on throws the rest of the tour out a little bit. So TBC.
Talking about how to make events work, that's how Tour de France makes it work. That's why they're cash positive, because
Yeah.
they go to different parts of the world to start and pay for their events.
I reckon the
Whereas-
rest days are as much about getting from A to B than they are
Yeah, well,
for the riders. to
On
have
my
a
rest day when I did the Tour de France in '97, Stuart O'Grady and we drove the TGV. We
As in the train,
we were the ones in charge of the TGV. They got the France 3 crew there. They took us up there, and I'm not joking, I was shitting myself.
That's
up
terrifying.
there, 300 and something kilometres an hour, and you've got these paddles, these huge paddles, and I had my hands on. I was like, nah, not doing it, because you're seeing a corner and then you're through the corner, and you're like, oh, it's like a video game.
Do you have to do much? To,
No, it's all kind of programmed. It's like a gimmicky thing, but I was up
Thank
there. I was like,
goodness.
no, I'm not touching this thing.
yeah, I wouldn't have.
So
That's too much power for one man. Yeah, look, these decisions that TDF makes are also commercially logical as well, capitalising on the popularity, obviously, of past starts, but also just the crop of riders that are
I'm
incredibly popular.
I'm surprised that Slovenia haven't asked for it.
yeah, well,
surely.
that's a bit of a transfer, but
It's a long way east. I get it.
But I'll
They
put it
still
out
make
now.
planes. They still make planes.
It's 2024. This is 2027 we're talking about. I reckon they'll start with not just a prologue, but a long prologue edging proper time trial stage for Joshy Tarling to take the yellow.
Get the yellow.
If I was on the organising committee, that's what I'd do.
Well, they generally do start. A lot of Tour de France's start with a prologue or a time trial or a long prologue.
Yeah, a long prologue. Josh Tarling on sort of home soil.
18K or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Come back from Cav.
He's
probably still riding.
Oh,
but
he'll
not a comeback.
be the one, doing the start gun.
In January, he'll do a Dusty Martin. He'll just be like, right, I'm retiring. All right, I'm going to go and ride for Cancellara's team.
Yep,
I can't let it go. I can't.
Oh, that's great. All right, so TDF in Britain. That women's as well, do we know? Is it just the...
No, we don't know yet.
Don't know yet, okay.
And they're also talking about what's going to happen in 2028 because the LA Olympics are mid-July to mid-August, so much earlier again. So they'll have to... It's looking as though there'll be about a week between the Giro and the Tour.
Oh,
scheduling.
Scheduling, put that on for another day.
Okay, on the Wheelhouse Cycling Podcast, I want to ask you just our dear friends at Bike Bug texted me and just said we haven't heard anything about the bike pack. Bates is blanking us. Can you ask what's happening with it? So I'm going to ask you live on the podcast now. How did the bike pack go?
Yes.
It all arrived safely?
Brilliant.
Okay.
Thank you very much to the guys at Bike Bug. Without that, I don't know if Mercksy and I would have been able to jaunt along the Great Ocean Road.
Okay.
No, they did a very good job. Very, very impressed. We actually had to upgrade our bike bags because they're the kind, one of them is a Chicon bag, but so they've got the hard base that it protects and you put your front and rear forks in.
Okay.
But we had the kit
You had the old skull.
for
You had the
for
through
rim
axle
brakes.
one. Yeah, the rim brakes and through axle.
Through axle. And so we had to upgrade the inserts to make sure we can use them. You can buy the inserts separately.
At Bike Bug.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
So
I'm really, thanks very much for telling me that. I just threw my old bike bag out. Bike bag out.
head to Bike Bug if you'd like an upgrade. Yeah.
Yeah, throw out your bike bag, not your bike bug, because your bike bug's
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to
spectacular.
sort
Code
that
Wheelhouse.
Yeah. So we Code Wheelhouse. So I've got an Evoc. Is that what it's called, Mercksy?
Yeah.
Bag, and I got a new undercarriage for that too, and they worked beautifully.
And I got the Chicon.
Yeah, the Chicon.
And
the
you
Chicon.
can
Yeah,
walk through the airport
I've
hearing
used that
it
for 10 years.
with your finger.
That's Skycon.
Yeah, a single
You call
finger.
it Chicon, I call it Skycon.
I was going to ask, because this came up at the Brisbane Cycling
It did,
Festival
but
as well.
Elliot from Bike Bug, we asked.
Elliot.
Yeah, we
Where's
asked.
Elliot from?
Sneaky. I think he's
Is he
a Queenslander.
Queenslander.
He's not Italian.
Tomato.
Yeah, no, I think he says Chicon.
Celica.
Oh, yeah. See, now it's getting messy.
It's getting messy.
Either way, the Chicon.
Vingegard.
The Chicon bag is beautiful.
Okay.
I don't know why that was so much funny.
Oh, my
But
God.
Wheelhouse code, 10% off, coming your way. Thank you to Bike Bug and their ongoing support for this podcast. We are very, very grateful. And for everyone that takes advantage of that deal.
I'm going to go and get a new bike bag.
A new bike bag.
I am. I'm going to have to go. I actually need a new one now. I will be heading their way.
Yeah.
Who will need a new bike bag? Lockie Morton.
Yes.
He'll need
Oh,
more
he
than
doesn't.
one.
He doesn't need a bike bag. He just rides there.
He just rides it.
Oh, he's like a bag of bones, that guy. He's that lean. You would be if you're doing how many Ks a day, Kate?
350,
Nah,
450,
up to
450.
500.
Average.
500?
Yeah, 500 max. He's
That's got to be with the
going
tailwind.
to break. He's going to break the record by days and days on his journey around
He's started
Australia.
something, isn't he?
He has. Well, there was a brilliant photo of him at the end of one of his 500-kilometre days, and he's in a blow-up kids pool.
Yeah, it's
eating
ice bath.
watermelon. Yeah, having an ice bath,
Yeah.
but in a coloured blow-up. It's so cool. And I was like, living the life.
Oh,
right
dead
there.
right. And raising the money.
And
50
raising the
grand.
money, for the Indigenous Literacy Foundation, which is
He's
great.
trying to get $100,000, right? I think.
Yeah,
I saw one of his reels on the gram, and he was pushing it pretty hard.
Well,
so.
and here's a connection. The fellow that is the CEO of the Indigenous Literacy Foundation is a guy by the name of Ben Bowen, who was the first Indigenous Australian to represent Australia in triathlon.
Fantastic.
Wow.
So there you go.
Hank, before the show, you were saying you were going to probably flick him $5,000. That's good.
Was I?
It's
I can't
really-
remember that conversation,
really
but I'll
kind.
see if I can remember it
Depends
after.
on how his call with the bookie goes. That accidentally called me. We'll check on that next week, Merksy. I love it though because this
I'll
is
I'll just ring Clyde and he can send me some
he'll sort it out.
Yeah.
Deer antler.
some deer antlers, and I'll take him to China next time and smuggle it in.
Never forget the
Kate's
lock
got
of
some.
hair.
She'll give you some.
I'm just getting.
You're getting slammed today, aren't you?
Thank
I
you.
did. I gave you a bloody jersey.
I know. Thank you. I do
I
appreciate
need
it.
that back, by the way.
It's on loan.
Alt Tour thing. Is this a thing? Is this going to be like the Dakar Rally of cycling? Like we get out and ride 8 million kilometres over a few weeks. And
Don't think there's going to be many people on Earth that are going
Wanna
to be
do it?
able to physically do what he did.
No, but there is a little bit of a movement, I think. Like,
Bikepacking movement.
yeah, like Alex from Bike Bug last week, he rode with Lockie for a portion as he came through. I think there'll be a lot of people who join in on the adventure.
Well, they're making a
parts of the
doco.
way.
They're making a doco too.
Yeah,
So
which
that'll
will be brilliant.
Cool, yeah.
The Mortons have always kind of gotten into the documentary making and the storytelling of long distance cycling. And, I'm sure he's getting some good stakes to put down his chamois
And the
to
strides.
keep
He would
him
be.
put
He'd
down
need
his
to have a couple of rib
strides.
fillets.
That's the way.
Minute
Yeah.
stakes.
Minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
Because
Sizzle steak.
like minute stakes. In the F1, when they get crap on their thing and they flick it off.
Yeah, yeah.
Minute stakes, you can just try
Like-
and put it.
Throw it out behind you, and then the rider behind you just gets plunk right across the face.
Gee.
Speaking of long rides for causes,
And
Dale
they're going to need a
Wilcox.
lot. They're going to need a lot of minute stakes for these kind of riding.
Yes.
You would, wouldn't you?
Yes.
You would. You'd need sponsored entirely by
Very
butchers.
good chamois.
Yes. Sponsored entirely by butchers. Oh, my God.
Every rider is sponsored by a different butcher.
So when you do like a sponsorship review and you look at all the different categories of who you think might align with what you're trying to sell, butchers is
Butchers.
usually not one that pops up.
Well, yeah, these
So,
guys make helmets.
brilliant.
No, they make nicks. No, we don't want that. They make bikes. No, we don't want that. There we go. Prime
Butcher.
rib, 49 a kilo. We want that. Lael Wilcox, you've got an item lucky 13 today
I know.
on the exploits of Lael
I
Wilcox.
threw this in because while we're talking about epic adventures, she's ridden around the world, 18,000 miles, 28,698 kilometres. I did write that down somewhere, but I can't see it now, so I hope I'm right on that calculation. Amazing.
No.
No, Hank's shaking his
Madness.
head. No.
Okay.
108 days, 12 hours, and 12 minutes.
This was for charity, right?
No.
No.
I might
This
have
is
bum
for
steered.
full-
I said good cause. but
Full
no.
self.
This is
Somebody
for the
call
Guinness
Guinness.
World Records.
That's it.
For the
you
Guinness
got to
World
pay
Records.
for that.
You do, yeah.
You gotta pay, like-
11,000
Yeah.
pounds.
How many thousand?
11,000 pounds.
£11,000,
Yeah,
Maxie.
yeah. I was going to try and break a record once.
Which one?
We should start
Can't
our
talk
own, the
about it on here.
Wheelhouse World Records.
Most deer
We
horn
could do
tablets
well.
consumed in 1
Yes.
hour.
Wheelhouse World Records.
Yeah.
Let's get into that.
Well,
we
this,
go.
Yeah.
this
Hey?
is turning into
You
the
don't-
longest podcast in history.
You don't have to pay £11,000 to get a Wheelhouse World Record.
No.
We'll come up with a fee structure.
You just need to do some very obscure shit. So leave that with us and
Yep.
we'll come back to you.
How did this woman not die? If she rode around the world, she's got to go through like world wars.
This is true. Well, so starting in Chicago, she flew over to Europe, into Portugal.
So she didn't
made her
swim
way.
across the pond.
She didn't. She made her way through France and Italy, Georgia, Australia, New Zealand, and then
So
Alaska.
she didn't go through the Middle East.
No,
Okay. Well, did
I mean,
she? Really?
I
Around the world?
think.
Or Western.
Oh
Europe, yeah.
wow! We're celebrating
This is
you,
the
Lyle
She's
Wilcox.
amazing.
No, yeah, no, like
No,
this is the
good
Phillies
on her.
fault question,
Good,
isn't
good,
it?
good on her. I just think those people have some bit crazy.
What's
Yeah,
the
mad.
definition of
Just a
around the
bit
world?
mad.
That's for another day. I think Maxie's going to cut us off here
I'm
soon.
telling you, around the world in 80 days. That's the big thing. When Phillies folks says 80 days, they say that's not around
Yes,
the world.
but that is in a hot air balloon.
It's a hot air balloon. Not a
for
very fast
bicycle.
one, given that it only took her an extra 28 days to
This
do
is
the
true.
world.
Yeah, this is
Anyway, really important topics to continue unpacking on the Wheelhouse Cycling Podcast. Hank Vogels, welcome back. Lovely to see your face again.
Thank you, sir. It's
Stay
great
warm.
to be back here.
Hank, just before we go, how's the chafing going?
Chafing's going okay, thanks.
Okay, good, mate.
Good
Yes.
bookender. Good bookender.
The heat got to me a tad.
Well, glad you asked, Maxie.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Merksy, thank you for your PG contributions, as always.
No
Hold it all
worries,
together.
mate.
Do
We're
we
about
need
to
to
run out
actually
of
do
tape,
it?
so-
Do we actually need to do a rating for people for listening to this podcast? Is there like a?
If we continue on this path, we may.
I think they quite well know by 111 episodes.
Yes, and next week's episode will be directed by Martin Scorsese, as we've just gone longer than his longest movie. So, congratulations to everyone. Like, share, subscribe, tell everyone you know. It's Australia's coolest, freshest, most unique, whatever. It's the best cycling podcast there is. So
And this
just get
jersey's
involved.
the best.
Thank
You.
Thank
Thanks, Joel.
You're very welcome.
Go the
No worries.
Parramatta Eels.
See you next time.